I really just had a change in my mindset saying, I don't need anyone else. I can do this by myself. I started renting rooms in Harley Street, bought my own nurse, bought my own materials, got my own patients. And I've been doing that for the last 8 to 9 months. My dad didn't have much money and he spent his entire life paying mortgage for the house. So the only way he thought was take a chance on you. And knowing that if I failed, then that's everything he's ever worked for gone.
You should really just do things that you love. It's not a job. You love what you do.
Although I worked to get that degree, none of that would have been possible without my...
I guess we'll start there. What is it like being on Apprentice?
Okay. Have you started already?
Yeah, I mean, just general conversation,
Just
really.
general
Yeah.
So, what's like being on the Apprentice?
I guess because I don't know the process in regards to how you actually get on the Apprentice. I assume there's a various in-depth interviews and stuff like that. I assume they got to analyze your business plan and stuff like that. I guess.
Yeah, exactly that. So for me, I haven't watched The Apprentice since I was high school.
Yeah.
Right. So more than a decade ago. But last year there was a dentist that went on it, and I speak to him and his team, and they were like, we've got so many patients from the back of it. And for me, I just started up my own business, and I was like, what's a good way to get more patients in? Maybe The Apprentice. So I, after work one day, decided to go down to the studio after I already applied, got a face-to-face interview. And then there were so many people there. I think the total number is between 60 to 80,000 people. And the interviews happen across all the country.
Yeah, wow.
And then once you get past that interview, you go to another one. And then at the end of it, they tell you if you got the place or not.
Yeah. Interesting. And what sort of questions are they asking you in these interviews?
Like, pitch yourself in 30 seconds of why you'd be a good investment for Lord Sugar. They'll do little scenarios with you as well. One of the scenarios was build one of those IKEA furniture tables.
Yeah.
And you've got set time to do it. And then
Really?
so you try and do it with a team.
Okay.
So they can see how you work with a team.
Did you think that you were going to get on?
I think from the second round on the first day, I met the head of the network of the TV, and I met this guy called Claude, who's actually one of the interviewers or old interviewers for The Apprentice.
Yeah.
When I met them two, I just had a bit of riz that day. So I just felt like it went well. I gave them both my business cards and I told them to give me a call.
Yeah. And I saw that you decided to leave The Apprentice. I mean, you can fully explain, don't have to, to why you left.
Obviously, I had an NDA and they give you kind of a script to say to the media and people asking you, say this for when you get asked that question. This is the response you give. And I've been given it, but a lot of people are like, I ain't buying it. Something must have happened. And from the outside, when you watch the show, it does look like a business show that people are tested on their sales skills, negotiation skills. And there is an element of that there. And none of the candidates are given a script on what to do or say. But when you go on, you realize the show tends to kind of have a script. They look at all of our business plans, they pick the ones that they want to invest in, and they kind of narrate it around them being the most credible ones are the ones that go really far. And I saw a lot of stuff happen behind the scenes, and I could tell after episode 3 and 4 that it is quite a bit of a script. And in hindsight, of course, it's a reality TV show. TV shows have to be scripted, or there's going to be mayhem. Right? There's going to be no storyline to it. But from that moment, I realized I'm never going to be able to be truly represented for my business acumen or my skills. So, you know what? Sometimes it's like going into a casino, you roll the dice, see how far you go. Sometimes just got to call it, take what I had. And then I realized at that point, you know what? Probably a good shot. I just leave now.
So it didn't really sit right with you?
No, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the experience. Met a lot of great people. Had a really good time. But once I realized how staged it is and scripted it is, that's when I was just like, I'm not doing this.
And what's Lord Sugar like? Like, do you get to speak to him, or is it only when you're in the boardroom that you really get to speak to him?
Only in the boardroom I get to speak to him. He's quite direct. I think the only time I had a real conversation with him was when I told him I was going to leave. Right? And that's when we had that conversation that never got aired. But he's what you see. And I think he is quite a fair, direct guy.
From what you saw of him, like what would you take a lesson that you learned from him, just from him speaking and him presenting? So
I realized that early on in the second episode that we speak very different languages. Like he said to me when I was describing what was wrong with the logo and why my alternative logo would have been a better choice, it was like, you're too technical for me, young man.
Right?
So I could tell he's quite old school in his way.
Because how old is Alan Lord Sugar?
I think he might be in his 80s now.
Wow.
So I think so anyway.
Yeah.
But he knows his stuff. As in he hasn't got to where he is without having really good business acumen. He knows what doesn't work, and how to, scale up a business.
And do you think his generation is a different level of, what's the right word to use? Like hustle?
Yeah.
Like, do you think it was a lot harder for him or that generation?
I think, I don't know if hard is the right word, but definitely their work ethic, I think, was, I wouldn't say better, but I feel like we've got far too many distractions in this day and age. Someone like Lord Sugar, he's a grafter, put in the work. And, you can see that from our parents' generation of how hard they work. So I think, to answer your question, I think that generation has really good work ethic.
Do you think we're getting lazy? Do you think us are?
I think the problem with our generation and what the older generation didn't have is they're really good at delayed gratification. Now, with us being able to access dopamine hits so quickly when it comes to social media, all these other things, it's become so easy for us to just get that gratification really quickly. So why would I want to delay it and work hard or do something else when I'm just happy sitting here on my phone, right? But they never had that at that time. So they had to work hard to get that hit of dopamine, as we could say.
Yeah, no, it's a good way of saying it, because, you hear everyone say, society's getting lazy, but I think you've hit the nail on the head in the sense that it's just that dopamine. It's that gratification. I want it now.
Yeah.
People are not willing to wait.
Yeah.
And I think...
and get the real dopamine, real gratification.
Yeah.
Right?
And I guess that kind of leads on to kind of what you do. So you're is it a cosmetic dentist?
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that for?
So I've been doing it for about 5-6 years now.
Okay.
And I think you could say that plays a little part in us, because for me, when I work with patients and a lot of them come over, and because I'm in cosmetic and restorative now, it's all about smile makeovers.
Yeah.
Then you see people coming in maybe with bleeding gums or gum disease or tooth decay and wanting to have white teeth. And for me, it's like, look, it's a process, right? You've got to get the foundations right. You've got to get the health sorted first. Take care of your gums, your teeth. Then we'll get to the teeth whitening.
Yeah.
So when they work with me on that whole process and whole journey, it's kind of delaying that gratification of straight white teeth quickly, doing it all properly to get longer lasting results. And then when they do get white teeth, they're really happy. And that's when I get my hit, knowing that I've done the right thing and given them an experience and a journey that they're really happy with.
And you must see some terrible teeth. do you get to see that?
I used to when I worked in the NHS.
Okay.
Not so much now. I think, when you're working on Harley Street, I think people know that they need to get their basics right. But we do have some, a few cases that come in asking for cosmetic work when they haven't got the basics yet.
So I'm in a situation where I don't know whether to get retainers or Invisalign or whatever you want to call it, or braces.
Okay.
So as a dentist, which one would you advise? Me being that, before I say anything, I don't care whether one takes 2 years or one takes 6 months. That doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me that if I'm wearing train tracks, as they call it, like which one is better, just for my understanding, from a braces or...
Sure. So it depends. It's all case to case, right?
Okay.
You just said right now that you don't care about time limits, right?
Okay.
Normally metal braces can get you there quicker rather than Invisalign in some cases.
Sure.
But you said you don't care if you're wearing train tracks or you just got invisible retainers in, right? So that seems like you're leaning towards more of the metal braces. Sometimes in some complex cases, they're usually a little bit better. But with Invisalign, the great thing is that they're see-through, right? Yep. So when you're having them, no one can really tell that you've got anything on. You can take them out if you're going to go to parties, dinners, dates, or anything. You can take them out whilst you're eating and socializing, then put them back in when you get home. But it is self-reliant. Okay. So if you start treatment with me and you're not wearing it 22 hours a day,
you got to wear that long.
You have to wear that long. You're only taking it out when you're eating or sleeping, and then the odd occasions as well.
Wow.
But most of the time it's 22 hours a day. But the thing with braces is you don't have to have that discipline. They're stuck on your teeth. No matter what, you're going to be wearing it 24/7, right? So if you're disciplined, you do want to have that flexibility of not anyone knowing that you're having any treatment done. Then I think Invisalign is a good route. But if you don't really mind, you're not that motivated or disciplined and know that you're not going to keep putting it in your mouth, then I said go for braces.
Okay. All right, perfect. Because my bottom ones, I think I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, my wisdom teeth have pushed everything, and now like my bottom ones.
Has that been getting worse as you've gone older?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see that they're definitely becoming more, I don't know what's the right word to use when they're jagged and
crowded.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, let's not make this about my teeth and all that stuff. But let's go back to 16-year-old Jana.
Sure.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 33 now. 34.
34.
Yeah.
When you were 16, what were you doing? Where were you heading? Was this your route? Did you want to become a dentist? Was your plan to go to uni? Was it something else? Like, sort of paint that picture for us at 16-year-old Jan.
So it's important to know from my beginnings, really, it's my parents' beginnings.
Okay.
Right? So they're both refugees. They fled the war in Sri Lanka in the 1980s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They had various different ways to come to the UK, but they both ended up in the UK and met in the UK. We grew up in northwest London in a home with a lot of people in who were different refugees from Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
And we had my older brother, then we had me, and then we had my little brother and little sister. And when I was 16, I realized when I was 15, actually, we went to Canada on a family trip for my uncle's funeral. There I saw one of my other uncles working as a dentist.
Okay.
And I saw him work with patients, have a lot of respect, and have a nice lifestyle as well. So already from 15, 16, I had it in my head that I wanted to be a dentist.
Yeah, sure.
And I think with most Asian or even African communities, I've heard it a lot that their parents would always say you have to be a doctor, dentist, or lawyer.
I was going to ask you that.
Right?
Like, was that pushed on you?
For sure it was. For sure it was definitely pushed on me, but more to do with being a doctor because my older brother was a doctor.
Okay.
But I have a lot of cousins as well who are doctors,
Yeah.
a bit older than me, and I could see them doing night shifts, really long hours, really stressful job role. And I thought to myself, I don't want to do that, but I still want to do something medical and seeing patients and giving back. So I thought, hey, let's do dentistry. So from 16 onwards, or 15 onwards, really, I kind of had it fixed. I wanted to be a dentist.
And has it been a hard journey?
It's been a long journey.
Yeah.
It's been a long journey. I went from my A-levels. I actually got an offer to study in Manchester.
Okay.
But I was kind of caught up with my friendship group in London. Everyone was going to universities in London. And I didn't meet my London offer. So I thought to myself, you know what, let me reapply or do it again. I don't need to go to Manchester. I could just take one more year out. I can get the London one. Took that 1 year out, reapplied, got my offers, but I didn't meet it. And this time when I went back to Manchester, they said, we would have given you a chance. And they didn't do it then.
Shitter.
So I ended up doing a BSc, trying again, didn't have any luck. So at this point, the tuition fees were changing from £3,000 to £9,000.
Okay.
And you couldn't get the loan for the second degree, right? Well, most of the second degree, you couldn't get the loan.
Yeah.
So I was still stuck here because all I ever wanted to do since 15, 16 was be a dentist. And I felt like if I changed my career path, it would be me just doing something I didn't really want to do, right? So I spoke to my dad, and both my parents are immigrants. They're both, just manual labor jobs. My mom's a cashier, my dad's a postman. They didn't really have the money to fund me to go abroad and study in these private universities. So I worked for a year after I graduated from my BSc in recruitment and sales, even in KFC.
Oh, God.
Doing loads of different odd jobs.
Yeah.
And my older brother told me, show us for 1 year how bad you want it. And at the end of that year, we'll review and see it. So what my brother told me was, Dad doesn't care if you want this fancy job in London doing recruitment. What Dad wants to see is just you grafting or grinding. He'd probably be more happy that you're working in KFC or being a postman and just putting in those hours, waking up really early and just see how bad you want it. So that's what I did. And for that 1 year, I worked as hard as I could, but I didn't save up nearly enough to fund a whole dental degree abroad. So my dad, I kind of really said to him, look, I will 100% make you proud. I don't know how we're going to do this, but if there's any way that you can help me, I'm going to repay you back. And then my dad was quite a big decision on him because he had my younger brother and younger sister to look after as well. He didn't have much money, and he spent his entire life paying mortgage for the house. So the only way he thought was, let me use that pot there, remortgage the house, and take a chance on you.
Wow.
And knowing that if I failed, then that's everything he's ever worked for gone, right? So I had that chip on my shoulder. I went to Valencia, Spain to study dentistry. Most of the course was in Spanish as well, so written, speaking, patients as well. Difficult because I didn't speak a word of Spanish before I went out there. I just went to Spanish school with the Spanish people and really kind of dived in. And it was a long process. It wasn't easy. Half the time looking at these exam papers, not understanding a word of what they said. But I kind of put my head down, had a lot of fun whilst I was out there as well. But I managed to graduate in 2019. And then, my dad came to my graduation, was crying, and I took out my robe and gave it to him, because although I worked to get that degree, none of that would have been possible without my parents and my family backing me up. And then, moved over here to the UK.
I love that. And I guess this kind of ties in nicely to my next question is, if you could describe like your journey in like 3 words, what would those 3 words be?
Unconventional.
Okay.
For sure. Because I don't know many people with the same story as me.
Yeah, it's very, it's a very powerful, inspiring story.
Yeah. I think there's a quote that they say that it takes a village to raise a child. And I think definitely in my scenario, I was never self-made, because there's so many people in my journey that have helped me to get to where I am. So I think support, so unconventional support, and then just resilience. The fact that I kept getting knocked back down from my A-levels to uni, and not, getting a chance to study dentistry here, to going abroad and doing it in Spanish. I think that takes quite a lot of resilience, and I think I was able to do that.
And I think what's so important about your story is it just shows that resilience that I don't think a lot of people have. And especially you would generally hear that when it comes to setting up a business, but you've done it in a career that is studying, right? With your dentistry, what would you say is one thing that people don't necessarily know about dentistry before they get into it? Studying it.
Before studying it? It's a difficult degree. It's 5 years usually to study, and it takes a lot out of you. You see a lot of your friends might be doing 3-year degrees normally, and then going off and getting a job, being able to enjoy the fancier things in life after they've got money coming in, but you're going to be stuck there, still studying, still with exams, and not a paycheck coming in. So you've got to be mindful of that as well when you do start, that it is a 5-year degree. It's going to take long hours, and be prepared to just commit yourself for the next 5 years. Some people have resits in summers. I know I definitely did, right? So that's your whole year basically gone. And if you do that 5 years, that's 5 years of your life completely gone. So you have to really, really want it, and know that it's not the most lucrative career. You can get a better lifestyle, better financial paid jobs elsewhere, not to do with dentistry. But if you really love the idea of working with patients, being able to give back, put people out of pain, give people self-confidence back, and really enjoy kind of the whole biology behind it, then you'll really enjoy it.
So would you say that you just can't be, like, you really have to love dentistry?
Yeah.
Like, you can't just be, I want to set up an Amazon FBA store. Like, you really have to love what you do.
For me, when I go on nights out, go out with my friends, go out my dinners, you'll catch me on my phone just staring at pictures of teeth. And everyone thinks I'm really weird, but it's just one of those things where I'm like obsessed.
Yeah.
And it's an art. Well, when you go into cosmetic and restorative, it's definitely an art, but it's a biological art. You have to get the gums right. You have to make sure that they're healthy, and you can tell from looking at pictures what's good work, what's bad work. Is the patient really healthy? Do they have good gums? So if you're not obsessed, right, then it becomes more of a job. For me, I don't look at it as a job. I love doing what I do. I'm itching to get as many cases as I can when I get back to work. And I'm really just thankful that I'm able to have this job that I've always known I was going to love since I was 15.
And I think that's what a lot of people don't strive for, that love what you do.
Yeah.
I think so many people just do things for the sake of doing things because they've seen something online and thought, I can do that. He's making a lot of money, or she's making a lot of money. Let me try to do that.
Yeah.
When you should really just do things that you love.
Yeah.
It's not a job. Like, you love what you do.
Yeah.
What would you say has been like your biggest challenge besides the studying side in setting up your own practice, right? Because I assume it's very different from NHS to then move into your own private practice.
So for me, when I graduated and came back to the UK, keep in mind that I studied everything in Spanish.
Yeah.
So now I had to kind of relearn everything in English. So my first couple of years on the NHS were quite difficult. I had a mentor during that time, and sometimes he'd come and review my notes and be like, what is this? This is all Spanish, right? And I didn't know the English terminology for some of the words.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of relearn it, and it was difficult. The most difficult thing for being a dentist, and some people might not say it, some people are naturally gifted, but it's your clinical skills, right? Okay. That's the most important thing. Can you do a filling, take an extraction out, do a crown prep, do a veneer? These type of things are basics. You need to be able to take someone's history, diagnose accurately, treatment plan properly, give all the options. And I'm continuously learning every single day. Communication skills is another one, because there's so many different types of patients that are going to come through your door. So to be able to read them, understand them, and be able to interact with that person is very important as well. So there's a lot that goes into just being a dentist, right? Now, in dental school, we don't learn about business management, accounts, or anything like that. And it's something I had to learn since I graduated. Now, if you want to be self-employed or have your own practice or run your own business, you need to have these skills. And it's completely separate from being a dentist. You can be a great dentist, but a really bad entrepreneur, someone to do something with business. And sometimes it can be the opposite way around. Really good entrepreneur, not so great with dentistry, right? I think it's about finding the right people, matching the yin to the yang. So if I'm really good at this but really bad at that, and you're good at what I'm bad at and bad at what I'm good at, then we'd be a perfect match to kind of go into business together and help each other out. So far I've been doing it by myself. Okay. And it's been difficult in that sense. I took a leap when I was working for someone else. How it works is when you're an associate is you take 40% of everything that you bill, and the clinic takes 60%, because they bring you the patients, they give you the materials, they give you the nurse. You just sit down and do the work. So it makes sense that they take quite a big cut, right? Sure. Sometimes people say 50-50 is better, and sometimes people get that as well. But normally in a private dental scheme, the associate would get paid 40% of the work, and the clinic would get paid 60% of the work. However, when I was working at my last role, I brought in about 80% of the patients by myself. Okay. Right? Just through word of mouth, through socials. And then when I realized that if I'm bringing 80% of the work, doing all of the work, why am I only still getting paid 40%? So then I thought to myself, hold on a second, if I'm doing all the work, bringing all the patients and knowing how to do everything else around it, why don't I just set up myself? And since leaving the show, it's what I decided to do, because one of the reasons why I went on The Apprentice was to see if I could win that investment from Lord Sugar, because I always felt that I couldn't do it by myself. I felt like only people who come from financially rich backgrounds are the ones that are able to open up a dental clinic. And, from my background, where I don't come from money, it's going to be very difficult for me to do so. So why not wait to partner up with the right person? And I always had that mindset, hence why I went on the show, for someone to give me a chance. But when I left the show, I really just had a change in my mindset, saying, I don't need anyone else. I can do this by myself. I know how to do it. And then literally a week after leaving the show, I did it myself. I started renting rooms in Harley Street, bought my own nurse, bought my own materials, got my own patients. And I've been doing that for the last 8 to 9 months.
Because, when you recorded The Apprentice, it was a while back, right? It was last year.
Last year.
Yeah, so it's not like in the last like 2 weeks. No. Okay, makes sense. Yeah. And I also saw that Stephen Bartlett reached out. Is that
Well, it's been in the papers everywhere. The papers love me. I think the last couple of months, anything that has my name in, they'll print me, right? I think after leaving the show, I've had a lot of investors contact me, ask me out to take me out for dinner and stuff, and we've just had lots of different conversations. I'm still in the process of finding out what's the best option for me. Okay. Because someone as big as Stephen, someone like even Lord Sugar, they won't be active partners in your business.
They'll just provide
because they've got so many businesses to look after. You can't expect them to sit there, be in your clinic, do the grind and hard work that you want them to do, right? What they'll do is they'll take an equity of the company, provide you some money, and give you those monthly kind of coaching calls. They've got a great network. So, they have some of the best guys in marketing, some of the best guys in HR, and they've got all of the links there for you. But it's still up to you to do all of the work. They're not going to do that work for you. And that's 100% expected, right? But then I've had some meetings with some other people who would be active partners who are actually dentists and want to open up. And like I've had that conversation with you, are good at the things that I'm not so great at. And if I was to team up with them, I know I can sometimes, when needed, take my foot off a little bit, be able to go on a holiday, go with my friends, because I know someone is there managing the business. So that at this moment, the stage is kind of just figuring out what is best for me. Is it someone who's an active partner? Is it someone who's got a great network and is a really big mogul that can bring a lot of buzz around the business? So I'm still figuring that out. And I'm just trying to make sure that in the next month, before I decide anything, that I know what I want to do.
And I saw that you get some quite, Harley Street is known for, it's quite a big street, right? In terms of this whole, you can get a nose job, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
You get a lot of celebrities that come to you, is that right?
Of course, yeah. It's Harley Street more than anything. And once I establish myself on Harley Street, then, through word of mouth and stuff, people come to see me. But Harley Street's known as the kind of the medical center of the UK or even Europe sometimes. So a lot of people will just want to stick to, I need to go to Harley Street.
Yeah. And who's like the biggest person that you've had in?
We've had some pretty big names in, some confidential.
Okay, yeah, no worries.
But, some of my favorite people in. I've got a lot of YouTubers. I would say Thames. I love listening to her music. So she's a regular patient of mine. The others, they're just not comfortable with me sharing.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
And is it hard to get on like Harley Street in terms of a practice? Is there like a process or?
Normally takes you 10 years. You need to have 10 years experience to get onto Harley Street.
Sure.
I got there in 2.
Wow, okay,
right?
Nice.
So 2 years after graduating, I just kind of stood out, I guess. One of the owners in Harley Street approached me, offered me a role, and I wasn't as clinically gifted as the other clinicians that were working there. The clinicians that were working there have been practicing dentistry since before I was born, right? So they really know their stuff. However, what I could bring to the practice was I'm that new age of dentistry where we use social media to attract patients coming in. And I don't think the practice really knew the modern way of marketing then. So I was able to bring that in. I was still learning how to be good clinically as well. But I also introduced things like, Facebook ad campaigns, Instagram, TikTok, and brought in teams that still work there at the clinic now. And I think that was my skill set that made me stand out from every other dentist, because clinical skills is something that once you put in the work and put in the time, you will get better at. It's like, say we're making one of these clay objects here. The more and more you do it, the better you're going to become, right? So dentistry is similar to that.
Okay. And I want to take a step back in regards to your upbringing. So you mentioned that your parents were refugees. What was it like growing up with your parents being refugees and obviously not from this country?
Yeah.
Was it difficult?
I would say it was difficult, being a child of refugees. My parents came to this country not knowing the language so well, working odd jobs, from being a postman to being a cashier. My parents would work 16-hour days. We wouldn't see much of them at most times, but they always did everything they could to provide me and my siblings with every opportunity we had. Since we were young, my dad made us go into tuition, from karate to musical instruments to absolutely everything. And that's why even when I'm on national TV or anywhere I go to, I always just give them a shout out, because without that hustle and hard work, I wouldn't have the opportunities that I have now. It was definitely hard, especially when we moved to a better school. We could see a lot more people from different backgrounds who were a lot more wealthier than we were. But that's what just made me strive now, to be able to have that for my family and for my parents and be able to give back to them. I think one of the things that I wrote a few years ago on an Instagram post was the magic of manifestation, right? And having vision boards. Yes. And what I wrote on my vision board was, I know my dad always wanted to have a Lexus. That was his dream car. Okay. But when he sent me abroad to study, he gave me everything that he had, right? And year by year, all of the money he earned, he kind of gave to me. And that did put a shortage on the rest of my family as well, because he kept sending me money. So the day I got back, and when I graduated, I bought him his dream car on finance, because I was still from there. But something else I wrote down on my vision board was, I want to take care of my parents, buy my dad his dream car, and fly my parents around the world. And then just this September, I was able to fly them out to Sri Lanka.
Amazing.
And take them around the whole island. And it was a trip of a lifetime because it's the first time I was able to really give back to them for everything they've given me.
What would you say is your biggest lesson that your dad taught you and your mum?
So my dad, he's an entrepreneur. So in Sri Lanka, he had a lot of different shops around the island. And he always had that entrepreneurial spirit. When the Civil War happened, riots happened, and they burned everything my dad had, and he didn't have anything. Now his brothers and sisters went to university, got an education. He decided to take that business route and do this. But when all of that goes, then what do you have, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't have that education that his brothers and sisters did with degrees and all. So he came to this country with absolutely nothing. And that's what he told me as well. He was like, listen, if you want to be an entrepreneur, great, but make sure you have something there that through the hard times you can still fall back on. And he goes to me, like, being a dentist, being a doctor, or so you can go anywhere in the world and you can get yourself a job. So no matter what happens in your life, you're going to be okay. So that was one of the basic lessons I learned from him, was to study, get an education, get a degree, and you'll be safe that way. But also through entrepreneurship, he's taught me so many different lessons in business.
And then what about your mum?
My mum is, my mum's a sweetheart. She was born in a mud hut. She comes from a proper village. So the fact that she's now, raised 4 children who are all successful in her own rights, she's like the heart and soul of our family. She makes sure everyone's okay and goes beyond and above for every single one of us. The lesson she's taught me was probably unconditional love, because there were times when I was a teenager and I just created havoc for her, for my parents as well. But she never gave up on me. And that's one of the things that I take away from her, because she is, like I said, the heart and soul of our entire family. And she's the glue that holds us all together.
It's so important when you have parents that support what you do.
Yeah.
I think sometimes parents cannot understand why you do certain things. And I think when you have that backing from the people that are your parents, I think it just gives you that passion to do well for them. And like in your instance, your dad helped you out so much, and doing everything for them, obviously for yourself, but evidently your purpose is around giving back to your parents.
Of course.
And I think that's just so beautiful. And you mentioned manifestations, you mentioned vision boards. How important do you think that is when you're just essentially trying to achieve your goals?
I think it's so important. I think I read somewhere where what the right quote of it is, like, your brain can't tell something that's already happened or something that you're manifesting to happen, right? And I feel like if you speak it into existence and do the hard work to get you there, inevitably it will happen. And that's come true for me from being a dentist. It's come true for me in so many different areas of my life. I wanted it, manifested it, worked hard, and I was able to get there. And it's definitely something I'm moving and carrying forward as well. But it's what's got me through some really tough times, because I can have a look at my vision board and understand my purpose, my why am I doing this, and it kind of gets me through my tough days. And then once I accomplish it, I know, okay, what's my next goal now?
Yeah, and what is that why?
That why for me is, like, growing up when I was a teenager, my brother was always the golden boy, right?
Okay.
He was like a year and a half older than me, straight A student. In the karate tournaments, he was the one who was always number one. And it was hard for me to follow in his footsteps. And he was the oldest one in our kind of generations. All of my cousins and everyone looked up to him. And I never really got that spotlight growing up. So I was like, oh, you know what? If everyone's giving him attention for being great, and I can't be that great, screw this, man. I'm just going to do me. And where I come from in Wembley, Alperton, it's a rough area. So I started acting out, not because it was truly me, but I guess in some kind of deeper level, I just wanted that attention. I didn't think I really got. So whilst from 15 to probably at 19, 20, I really did cause a lot of trouble for my parents. I made them sit down and watch Adolescence the other day, because, we went through some similar stuff like that during that period of time.
Yeah.
And now knowing I put my parents through all of that, my biggest why is you have to make it up for them, because the fact you did that, they still gave you everything despite all of that. And now you've got the ability to earn a decent living and look after your parents. You 100% have to do that. And that is my why every day. as well as having my own family one day as well. One of my biggest reasons for my why is definitely to give back to my parents and make sure that they can have the life that they truly deserve.
I think having a why is so important because, like you mentioned, when you're going through those tough times, if your why isn't strong enough,
Yeah.
you're just going to fold, right?
Yeah.
You're just going to go back to your old ways and you're never really going to accomplish
Of course.
what you want to accomplish.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest challenge for you in any part of your journey?
The biggest challenge for me in any part of my journey, I think now these last few months I've been in the public eye. I speak to a lot of my patients who are also in that public eye, and I think one of the things I realize is that you can't make everyone happy, right? You can't control the public's perception or opinion of you, and I realized that one of my biggest challenges that I had before and could control before, because before, when it's just your own social media and it's your own platform, you can control your narrative, you can control the way you are. But when you're going on national TV, on shows like The Apprentice, you have no say to what your narrative is. The show will make you look like how the show wants to make you look like. And then there's that perception of being misunderstood and not represented for who you truly are. And I used to really care about that, but I've really been able to get over that this last month. I think last month I was front page of The Sun. I had every single UK tabloid write articles about me, some not in the most positive light. And then just last week, I was in the papers again, all the tabloids again, but now for the opposite of them praising me. And I've just come to a stage now where I just know to just shut all of it out, the good and the bad. I had one of my patients come in and he said to me when he saw me in the paper, about 20 years ago, there was someone on the paper, front page of these tabloids, for a 5-second mistake he made, right? It's an England game, I think, and he got a red card and got sent off. And I think the papers were like 10 lines, one stupid boy. And his face was, the newspaper made a little dartboard with his face in the middle. And he got scrutinized for so long. But what he did was shut it out, put your head down, do the hard work, and show the people who you really are. And I took that advice from last month and I carried it on all the way till now. And now when the paper started writing good stuff about me, I was just like, in time, people really know who you are.
So would you say that then the negative press that you were getting didn't really affect you?
It did at the time. I think the first week I lost 10 kg in 1 week.
Wow, because of the amount of stress.
Yeah, the amount of stress. I had reporters coming to my house, to the clinic, to my parents' house, everywhere I went. At the Daily Mail, taking photos of me, and putting up articles I didn't even know they could have access to, right? So during that week, there was a lot of buzz around me, and it was for something that was with such positive intent to do something good, and it just got flipped around for something else. So from it, I did go through a hard time, but when I spoke to my circle and my people, I knew the best thing to do was just to put my head down, work hard, and in time, people can see through it.
And I think what's so bad about that, and it's hard to, and it's really sad to say, in that moment, no one's coming to save you.
Yeah.
The media's not coming to save you.
Yeah.
They're not coming to save you, to take you out of that ditch that they've put you in.
Yeah.
And the only person that can get you out of that hole is yourself.
Yeah.
You have your likes of your parents and people around you that can give you advice, but evidently you need to get yourself out of that.
Yeah.
And it's bad. The way the media scrutinize so many things. Yeah,
it was a tough one. The context of it as well was very heavy, and it was such a subject of.
And was this the incident that we were speaking about before?
Yeah. So I'll explain it again in case you don't know the whole story of it.
Yeah.
In one of the episodes, I was in charge of making a character, like a character for Easter egg market, right? So the holiday market. And when I presented the character I made to my sub team, I said, look, I don't feel people like me feel represented really in this industry. You've got Santa Claus, you've got, different kind of characters around the holiday industry, but no one who really looks like me. So I've created a colored character to represent me. So all the black and brown kids around the world can look up to him and be like, hey, daddy, they look like me.
Yeah.
And want to buy the Easter egg. I quickly got called up by one of my teammates. Like, Jana, you can't say coloured character, it's character of colour. I said, oh, sorry. Character of colour, person of colour, myself.
Yeah.
That was it. And that was such a 10-second moment to a whole day of filming. And the next thing I know is on the paper, I think it read something like, a favourite to win Apprentice quits because of a racist row he has of calling a black person coloured. And he used it as a racial slur. And it just got so taken out of context that in my head now I'm like, you know what, I wish I never even did that idea. I tried to do something good and I admit I made a mistake, but the intent behind it was so positive that it got taken out to this, and it just blew up. Every UK tabloid was printing about it, putting articles about it online. And it's so crazy because I never would have expected a mistake like that could have blown up this big.
Fair enough if you were talking about someone else.
Yeah.
But you were talking about yourself. And it's just so crazy how the media would take that small snippet of you saying what you said and making it act like you were saying it to someone else.
Yeah, as a racial slur as well. So, yeah, it was difficult.
Yeah. Fuck the media. I'm saying that. In other news, I like to take accountability with my guests. So I like to ask them what they're doing well and what they need to work on in order them to be a better parent, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, business owner. Start with a negative, not necessarily negative, but what's one thing that Jana needs to work on that will make him a better friend, a better dentist?
I think because I'm trying to do everything by myself at this stage right now, my organization is terrible.
Okay.
Right? So I'm all over the place most of the time. And I think that's something I need to take accountability for. Yeah. And just really start to improve, because there is enough hours in the day to get everything done and still have time to spend with your loved ones after. I don't always need to be sitting on my phone, on my laptop.
Looking at teeth.
Looking at teeth, yeah. There's a time and a place, right?
Yeah.
So that's something I definitely need to work on.
So would you say you struggle to delegate? Or you don't have no one to delegate to?
As in, I do, but I'm just so like detail orientated that I know how to do it. So I just want myself to do it. So because when I've tried to give it to other people beforehand, but I guess it's for me, I need to train them to know how to do it the way I want them to do it.
Yeah, and especially if you want to scale, you need to.
Yeah, you can't do a one-man band.
You can't. And then on the flip side, what's one thing that you're doing really well?
What I'm doing really well? Ooh, that's a difficult one. I don't really know. I guess.
Could be personal, it could be in your business.
Being able to accept the fact that it's okay to be misunderstood. I think, Frederick was coming in here after. Yeah. We were talking about some of the negative comments we get online. And then we click on that person's profile and see what they look like, right? And we were like, we need to stop getting annoyed about negative comments, because when you click on that person and you look at who's trolling and writing all this hate, do you really care what that person has to think? And we just laugh at it now. And I feel like going out through this process, both of us have realized to have thick skin and not care what anyone says. Yeah. So that's a positive.
And you never get, it's a quote, right? You never get criticised by people above you, right? Yeah. You always get criticised by the bums that are just jealous of what you do, right? So why should you care? I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't care what someone below you says, but if someone's not doing anything with their life and they're a bum, why should we care? Why should you care?
That quote, a hate is never going to be one that's doing better than you, is true. Because who's got time to sit down there, write all of these comments, go through all of that and start hating?
Losers. That's who they are, losers. What advice would you give to someone starting out in dentistry? Maybe they want to get into dentistry school to become a dentist. What advice would you give to them?
It depends on what your why is, right? Dentistry is a really fulfilling career and there's so many different opportunities, not just as a clinical dentist. I've worked in an AI team before, worked lecturing before. There's so many different pathways you can do from just being a dentist, as you'd say, right? But you've got to realize that it's a long degree. It's a hard degree as well. If you're doing it for the money, there's so many better ways of making money now than being a dentist. That golden era for being a dentist, I'd say, has probably gone. You can still do really well, but there's different avenues and pathways as well, as they are in all different kind of fields and careers, right? But if you love working with people, making making someone's life better, whether it's putting them out of pain, giving them their smile back, seeing them have their whole self-confidence restored, then it's an amazing career to be a part of. Just be warned that you're going to have a lot of exams, and you're always going to have to continuously keep learning. Every single year you need to do professional development. There's always going to be new techniques, new materials coming out, and you just need to stay on top of it year by year. And if you're someone that loves to learn, wants to keep continuously improving, then it's an amazing career to be in.
I feel like this whole veneers and whitening has kind of come out of nowhere. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's become a growing trend of, you know, getting veneers or fake teeth or whatever, turkey teeth, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen that, or has it always been there?
No, it's definitely become more recent, and I think that's now because celebrities are more open with whatever treatments they have, whether it's skincare, Botox, plastic surgery, or even veneers now. They're more open with it, and that kind of opens the door for the whole cosmetic field and aesthetic field to be like, hey, you know what? It's okay to start getting these treatments done. So we have definitely seen a rise in cosmetic dentistry, but I think what I really like to preach, and I think is really important, is just to be minimally invasive with it, because you only get one set of teeth.
Yes.
Right? You don't want to be flying out to, I don't want to say Turkey, because there are other countries as well that do it, that shape your teeth down to little pegs and put a bunch of, you know, crowns on, right? Because for the long run, that's not going to be good, right? Okay. So be minimally invasive with it, and just make sure that it's going to last you for the rest of your life, really. With, you know, I think every single thing will have its wear time, whether it's composite veneers, whether it's porcelain veneers. One thing that will last you forever, as long as you take care of it well, is your own natural teeth.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I do need to go to a dentist. I haven't been probably in about 6 years. 5, 6 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, come see me, man.
Yeah. It's really bad. Really, really bad.
Okay.
Who's had the biggest significant impact on your life, and why?
Oh, biggest significant impact in my life. I think family-wise, probably my older brother.
Okay.
I think he is a humanitarian. He's a journalist, and he's also a doctor as well.
Amazing.
He does a lot for our people back home. He's like the real celebrity of our household, right, would be him. And despite doing all of that, he's always had time to be there for me through all of my trials and tribulations, right? And so, you know, I have my other siblings and my whole family as well. But he's someone who, because we've got such a close age gap, that since my troublesome years to my years being on TV, he's always been there for me. But so have a lot of my friends and a lot of my cousins and family. I think I've got a really good network there. But I'd say my brother would be someone who stands out.
So would you say you've always had healthy competition?
With my brother?
Yeah.
Not really. I think we're doing two different things, right? I never really used to get involved with politics or humanitarian work, simply because when I'm trying to build a career and name for myself in the field of dentistry, associating yourself with stuff like that, unfortunately, does have a negative impact on you. And there's no way I would have been able to even be on the BBC if I was so vocal and posting about these things. Yeah. Now that I've done it and I've already established myself in my career, definitely will be seeing a lot more of me doing that. One of my good friends and my patients is a guy called Chunks, who has got a really big YouTube platform. And one of the things I speak to him about is he is so vocal about his support for Palestine.
Yes.
Right. And I asked him, look, aren't you like scared of you getting cancelled or, you know, anything like that? And he's like, I've lost millions because of my support for Palestine. But I've worked so hard to get myself to this level, build a platform that I have, that I don't care, right? I'm going to always stand up for what I believe in. And that's why he's so aggressive with it. And I love that. And that's something I aspire to do. Hopefully I can start doing that real soon now as well.
And then what's one quote that you kind of live by in those dark times? That one quote that you referred to.
One quote. I've got so many quotes. You know, I think my missus told me this one where she was like, the highs and the lows that you go through in life are just temporary. So when I was going, because that Sun newspaper, it came out on Valentine's Day.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Whole day right off. So when I was going through it, it was just like, you know, the lows as well as the highs, they're temporary. So you'll be able to ride it off, right? And even though you're feeling like this now, in a month or two, you're not going to be feeling like it. And that's why last week when I started getting good press, I didn't let it get to me because that's going to ride off as well.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I go by, and just learn to really live in the present.
It's important to have that balance, right? And know that following a high, there's going to be a low, and following a low, there's going to be a high.
That's life.
It's life. The last question I've got for you, Jana, is obviously the podcast is called The Endless Race. I feel like we are all running this endless race called life. There's endless successes, endless failures, endless opportunities. And there's always someone above you, there's always someone below you. Yeah. And that will always be the case, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
When you hear the phrase, the endless race in relation to life, like how do you interpret that? How do you see the endless race?
It's difficult because we're talking about the endless race being here in London and the UK. And I feel like that's associated with the rat race.
Yes.
When you say that, sometimes it's, we're all kind of leaning towards this one goal without being present and enjoying the journey and what life really is about. I feel, what you said is true. We're always going to have people above us and below us as well. I always love to be in a room where I'm the lowest one there.
Sure, yeah.
Because I can learn so much from everyone around me. And I've always made it a habit to try and be at events or network with people that are so many years above me. And that way I can learn and implement those habits in. Ultimately, though, I think the secret to life or this race is happiness. And happiness means so many different things to so many different people. But I feel like being happy is what we should be looking towards, not, I want to get this much money, live in this mansion, have this car. Because I know people, and I have friends who live in a basic home, have a basic car, but they're the happiest people in the world. And I would rather be them than someone who has a mansion, Ferrari, and just sits by myself and cries all day.
Well, he said it here first, and I think that's a lovely explanation of the endless race. Because, we're always striving for these materialistic things, and sometimes we forget about, if you lost it all, would you still be happy? Yeah. And I think that's the question that people need to ask themselves.
I think it's because, I've been at places where I've been really celebrated by myself before. Yeah. And it just doesn't feel right if I haven't got the people I love around celebrating and enjoying that moment with me. And that's one of the things that I've learnt now, that when I do have a high moment, I need to make sure that the people I love are there as well, so they can also celebrate it and win off it as well. Yeah,
no, I love that, and I totally agree with that. But Jana, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Where can the people find you, their dentistry on Instagram and everything?
Yes, I'm at Dr.Denzel on Instagram, Dr. Denzel on YouTube, and Dr. Denzel on TikTok as well.
Amazing. Well, Jana, it's been a pleasure. Guys, I will see you on the next episode.
Thank
Peace.
you.